Uh, Welcome in. Freaky Sportsmen coming up next.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining.
Welcome
Um,
in. Our first
I'm here with
podcast.
RJ Feigenbaum.
Yeah,
My name is Drew Hall.
mm-hmm. Got some fun things to talk about today, huh?
Let's talk some hockey.
Oh, yeah. All right. Cal Peterson. That's how we're going to start it off.
I mean, it was expected, at least at least for me. I was expecting it, but I didn't think Rob Blake had the balls to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a cap move as well because we can get rid of 16 million in the next 3 years of that. And that would be
Yeah,
great for some offseason ads here or even at the trade deadline. Getting some guys
totally.
like Patrick Kane possibly. That would be epic. But yeah.
I mean, he has I think he has 10 goals against, or like a expected goals against is like -10 on the year in his 10 starts. So I mean, if you take away his starts and you take away those 10 goals, I mean, we're probably in a different spot in the standings. And honestly, like he wasn't, he's not the face of the future for the Kings in goal at least. So I mean, I think Rob Blake kind of just he accepted the fact that this was a bad contract, and this is kind of the start um, to him just saying, yeah, I messed up, and there's not much we can do about it, but this is the start to doing something.
Yeah, I think this is the one spot that Rob Blake hasn't been too strong in my opinion is drafting another goalie. I mean, if we look at our prospects system, we only have Matt Villarta and Phoenix Copley coming up. I mean, Copley's been bouncing around from a couple teams, made appearance here and there in the NHL, but besides that, we just have Villarta. But he's put up similar stats to Cal Peterson in the with the rain, so maybe that'll be a backup on Thursday, but we'll see.
I think at this point, there's no harm in bringing him up. I mean, what's the difference
Let the
other than
kids play.
exactly, and other than like we're spending $5 million or whatever Cal Peterson's contract is. Now we have a cheaper alternative, and hopefully somebody will claim him. But nobody's going to claim his terrible contract.
Yeah, the good
Let's
news
be
is,
honest.
yeah, if he goes back to the AHL, we do get at least a million back from that, which would be nice.
That'll be good.
But yeah,
I'm not
so
too sure what's gonna come about this, but I think Rob Blake is finally just accepting the fact that it's a bad contract, and
yeah,
it's about time.
so going back to the game yesterday, Kings versus the Kraken, it was an 8-9 in overtime. Where do you even start with that?
I mean,
It was a fun
it's
game to
just
watch, at
it's
least.
confusion. I mean, I was watching. I was there live. Um, we scored 8 goals. I mean, that's awesome. You've got to win a game. You score
Yeah,
8 goals. I mean, holy smokes! You walk away with 1 point and you score 8 goals. That's absurd. I mean,
I
the
mean,
defense.
yeah.
Where is it? What is it?
Yeah, so going back to the last 8 games, we've only played good defense in I think one of those, and that was the Oilers game, where we had
Yeah.
probably the best game in Kings history in the last couple of years. And
Mhm.
besides that, we lost 6 out of the last 8. I mean,
There just
defensive
hasn't been
breakdowns
complete
everywhere.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
solid,
one thing after another. And it feels like every time there's a defensive mistake, it always ends up in the back of our net.
especially with Cal Peterson, huh?
Yeah. Cal Peterson, it doesn't even matter. I mean, I feel like poor Cal Peterson, though, like he just got the short end of the stick because our defense has been god awful.
Yeah,
And as a goalie, you have a good defense, like you're gonna look better too. That's how it works.
I think the only person that I've been impressed by on our D line, like consistently giving us a good game, is Mikey Anderson. I mean, every single game he's there taking even Drysdale and McDavid, he was taking them out during that game a lot. So only
It's
defenseman
consistent.
that has impressed me lately.
It's consistent. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm thinking more long term. So yeah, Dursey's been messing up, but he's young, so
Mm-hmm.
he potentially could be in the lineup 5 years from now. But is Walker and Edlin really going to be in the lineup 5 years from now? And the answer is no.
Yeah,
So why not give our kids a chance?
yeah. I think that's one thing that Todd McLennan and Rob Blake are looking at now. Like I feel like this whole season they've been playing it to get the wins now and not really looking into the future like they have been the last couple of years, which is how we have this great prospect pool and we have a ton of prospects that need to be playing in the NHL getting
Totally.
experience. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what they feel. I guess this is a question for you, but our guys in the rain are watching the Kings' performance night in and night out. I wonder what they feel like knowing they're in the AHL when they could probably be playing better than the guys on the Kings right now. And that's got to be pretty deflating for a guy like Jordan Spence, who's he was literally on the playoff roster.
Yeah, huge performance in the playoffs. I think he had a couple points, a couple assists. I think he had a goal as well in there. And
Like,
yeah, he's forgotten about this year.
I just don't understand. Like, you have him, leading in he's leading the Kings D in the AHL. You have Mo Verari, who's an excellent defender, and we're just continuing to throw out the same lines and watching them struggle. It's like the definition of insanity,
Oh yeah, Einstein's insanity.
right? It's
Yeah.
like I wonder what they feel though. I don't know if they feel disrespected. I don't know if they feel like frustrated. They're definitely feeling it, but
Well, building off that, think about Quentin Byfield. He's down there right now with what, I think 6, 7 games now after coming back from his illness, and he's still
yeah,
down there. I mean,
we
I
get
know
no updates.
I sent you this video of Quentin Byfield that in between the legs goal in front of the net in
I mean,
coverage. I
he's
mean,
bullying the AHL players, man.
yeah,
It's absurd.
I think with Byfield especially in the with the rain, he's not going to gain any experience. He needs to be up on that the Kings roster, playing, getting good minutes because he's proven that he can play down there year in year out. And it's just because that he's been hurt with injuries and illnesses that he hasn't been playing a lot on the Kings
Yeah,
roster. I think you just need to give him a shot at this point.
totally. I agree. And then you have another question, I guess, that we can build off of is one of our rookies not getting a lot of minutes is Kaliev. I mean, dude's
Yeah,
got one of the best shots on the team. He's getting fourth line minutes.
yeah. I mean, I'm glad to see him that he's finally on the power play consistently. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember beginning of the season he wasn't even on that, so that was nice to see. But and I'm also impressed with actually our power play. It's looking a lot
hmm
better instead of the
I mean, I
last
think
couple of
the
years.
second power play line is our number one at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
what
getting it done.
I know there's a stat we have like 20 play goals already this season. It took us till 36 games last year to make that, and we also have believe it is 5 goals right after the power play expires as well. So I mean that's another 5 if you're counting the man advantage still because we still have 5-on-4 in the zone. So
Yeah.
at
I mean,
least
that's top of the league.
yeah, looking a lot better this year.
Yeah.
All right, one other topic that I like to bring up, and I know you're gonna have a lot to say on this one, so I'm a little excited. Our prospect pool. Just to name a couple, and I know Akil Thomas got hurt this year and he's out for the season, but we have, as of now, Byfield, Clark, Fagimo, Turcotte, Spence, and also a couple others down in the rain right now. What are we going to do with all of them? What do you see the Kings doing in the future?
I mean, I understand. Um, so let's talk about Clark really quick. I understand the decision that has to be made of whether or not we want to give him that game. Because I believe if he plays one more game, he has to stick, or
Yeah.
you lose a year of his rookie contract.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand that. Mind you, I don't think it's good for him to just be sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they decide to send him to the World Junior Classic or keep him with the big club, I understand both.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I mean, we're so like prospect heavy. I just don't see why we wouldn't make a trade for another young guy,
Mm-hmm.
or like for example, Churian, a little defender. He brings the strength. He's young, and we have a bunch of prospects to give up because we're so backlogged right now with prospects, and these kids are tearing it up in the AHL, and they don't have a spot on the roster.
Yeah.
When really it's their time. Like they're ready to start getting in the NHL. I mean, we saw that 20-year-old for the Kraken score a couple goals last night. It's like I'm sure our 20-year-old could do the same damn thing, but they don't get minutes. You
Oh,
know?
Velarde had a couple, so that was nice to see him getting
Yeah.
back on the board, especially after coming back in the lineup. But yeah, I mean, I think especially Turcotte, I know he's been hurt and been up and down, and so you can't really blame him for that. But when he's been on the ice, he has put up points, put up goals. I know he hasn't done that in the NHL level yet, but I'm sure some team would like to take a chance on him. And
Absolutely. I mean, he's a first rounder.
yeah,
The thing with Byfield is that I think he needs to be up on the big squad, and I think he needs to be getting. He's the clear replacement for Anze Kopitar.
mm-hmm.
Um, Mind you, our offense is going crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've been consistently putting up goals, um, and that's the only reason we have as many wins as we do this year. It's
Yeah.
nothing to do with the defense or goalie. Um, but I think we need Byfield to get maybe some third line minutes for now, and until we see him like ready to take that jump, then we could start talking about moving him top two lines. But that's just Byfield. Then you also have, like you said, Turcotte, Nagimo. Then you have all these guys, and it's a problem. Like, dude, they're ready. Play
Yeah.
the kids. What's going to help us win a Stanley Cup 5 years from now, or
Mm-hmm.
whenever our window is? Is it going to be watching Kopitar and him be slow and not be a presence on the ice? Like, I love Kopitar. He brought 2 cups to LA. You know, he helped us win 2 cups. That's awesome. He's one of my favorite players. But man, where is he? Where is he?
Hey, he's on track for like 20 something goals this year. Got five
Yeah.
or three
How
in the
many of
first
them have
20
been
games.
how many of them have been with an empty net or the goalie just not being alive? It's like, bro, please, somebody help him.
Yeah, going off of that Byfield point, I would love to see the Byfield, Kaliev, and Velarde line. Like that line being our third line once Byfield comes back up.
Yeah.
That would be a good line.
Yeah.
Give them
I
like
mean, that's gonna
15,
help us
16
win a
minutes.
Stanley Cup.
That's going to be our top line in a couple years. I mean, yeah.
So why can you and I think of that? But Coach Todd or whoever's making the decisions, because why are we thinking about that here right now and
hmm
nobody else is? And we're not seeing any changes.
I mean, I just think they're more focused on winning now versus the long term. I don't think Todd especially will, or maybe Rob Blake can have this talk and be like, "Hey, I'm fine if you lose in this year, if you as long as you play these guys." But I think Todd's looking at more of a security for his job. He wants to win games now and not worry
Mm-hmm.
about the future. But
I totally understand that. That is a good point. I never really thought of that until now. That is a good point. I mean, a game like yesterday, though, is a game where a manager or a coach gets fired.
I saw one clip that I saw. It was just the highlight of my night for Todd on the bench after the buzzer rang early, or we thought it rang early with the clock. He was just sitting there on the bench behind, just laughing. I don't think he had anything to say about the game. But yeah.
Okay, here's one more thing we could talk about is Todd. What are we doing? What do we do in this situation? I mean, you lose a game 9-8. That's a game. That's a performance where a head coach gets fired. And where was the timeout?
Yeah.
Where was the coach yelling at the players, visibly frustrated, to light a fire under their ass? You know, like no timeout called. You know, we don't know what's going on behind those closed doors, but I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, just one thing I forgot who said it after the game. I believe it was Kempe though. He said that they never lost faith in the clubhouse in between in the intermissions. So I mean, I guess there is a lot of still belief in themselves, just having to get pucks on net and praying that they
Yeah,
go in.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of what you had to do last night for both goalies.
Yeah.
It's whoever's going to make that one save, and their guy did, and Martin Jones did, even though he was awful.
We had
He
a
made
little
that one
flash
save.
from Cal there in that 1-0 breakaway. I thought, oh, that's going to be the save of the game. They're going to come back, win it in the third. We're going to look back to
Totally,
that.
totally. I mean, here's another thing though to think about is that yeah, we lost 9-8. We got a point on with our defense not playing hockey. Like
Yeah.
that's huge. And yeah, we're in a lull right now, but we keep dropping games in overtime. So it's not like we're just straight up not getting points in the last 6 games or whatever.
hmm
So it's nothing to lose sleep about. And we're also in a point in the standings where we're still okay because the Oilers still haven't figured out what kind of team they want to be this year. And the Flames are just struggling as well. So I think that's what makes it more frustrating as a fan is watching the other two teams fail like that, and then we're like doing the same thing when we could be separating right now.
And you also have the LA Kings fan thinking the Kraken are ahead of us, so why can't
Yeah,
we figure this out?
it
Especially, but
hurts. It does hurt, but
yeah.
you know,
All right, so just a couple of positives that I saw from the last couple of weeks as well, even this 8 game streak where they've lost 6 and 2 in overtime. But Kevin Fiala, man, he's figuring out. He's becoming the player that we saw in the Wild that we thought we were going to get right away. It took a little bit to figure it out, but he's starting to come around. 4 assists yesterday. I mean, that's crazy in its own, but yeah, Fiala
totally. I
figuring
mean,
out.
and another thing, he's not taking those stupid penalties, which is the one downside to his game.
Yeah.
You've seen him really mature and grow into a good player, and he's not taking those penalties anymore, which I'm pretty damn happy about.
Mm. And then 2 other players, Mikey Anderson, first goal, 43 games. My boy.
Always awesome to see. Always awesome to see him score.
43 games without a goal, man. You gotta be trying to not score to do that, huh?
Uh huh. And dude, you should have seen the smile on his face, man.
Dude, it
Awesome.
is a big one. And then last player I want to point out, Kempe. Adrian Kempe getting a goal in his like 13 games, something like that. Finally getting on the
Huge.
board. He in his post game he was like more of a shot mentality like he was last year, which I think he does need to get back to. And I think our top
Totally.
line needs to be Fiala and Kempe shooting in the shot mentality, and Kopi's got to be our disher. I mean that's what he's the
Yeah,
best at. So
yeah.
yeah,
And you have a lethal snipe on Kopi still whenever you want.
whenever
This
he wants
first
to take
line,
a shot.
this first line has potential, man. And if Kempe starts getting hot, oh boy, you
Yeah,
better watch out for that first line.
it's just consistency with them. Like I mean, we say great flashes, like 2 shifts in a row where they're really good, and then a period where you don't even realize they're playing. So they just got to be consistent, making chances, and hopefully making the best out of them as well.
Totally. Alrighty, Kings fans. Well, thanks for joining. Um, Not sure what's going on tomorrow. I mean, there was no practice,
No
so
media
we'll see
either.
what happens. No media, so I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow night. But hope everyone has a good night.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.